Hello, welcome back. I'm Sean, and this is the Mountains Garage YouTube channel in the beautiful state of Maine. 1 week ago today, I set up my Alpha Tig 203XI inverter AC/DC TIG welder, and I've had quite a few chances to try it out. And I thought it would be good to report, because there's been quite a few questions, on my thoughts about using it and what I've learned. A quick recap: I already had a TIG welder, a Lincoln Precision TIG 275 transformer machine with a water cooler. It's a massive, really expensive beast I bought back in 2007. My first TIG welder, pretty much the only one I've ever used. I've welded about 2 inches with a Miller, and that was it. I've taught myself to use it somewhat. I am limited because I never practice, and I haven't resourced enough information, and that machine isn't popular enough that enough people are talking about it, for instance, on YouTube. The new wave of less than $1,000 inverter machines, there's a lot of information out there, and a lot of it transfers regardless of the brand. The inverter machines allow you to adjust the hertz, which is how often it switches between positive and negative. My transformer machine is set at 60, can't be changed. The inverter can go from 20 to 250, and you can really hear it if you listen for it. 60 sounds pretty slow when you try 120 or 150. That, performance-wise, does all kinds of things. I won't get into every detail about the hows and whys, but the ability to change that, plus to have pulse. I don't have a pulse capabilities with my Lincoln, and the board itself was going to be about $550 to $600. I decided to go ahead and spend $750 delivered to my door for the AHP brand Alpha Tig 203 XI. I was torn between that and the Prime Weld. I believe that one's a 225. Physically, that's a lot bigger chassis. It would take up more space. I kind of like the portability of this one, even though I probably won't move it around very much. They both have the ability to run on 110 current, or 220, or 115 or 230, if you want to get technical. I may never run it on 110, but you never know. I might get another race car trailer and have it in there. In the future, who knows? I ended up choosing the AHP Alpha Tig 203 because it had a better foot pedal, a better torch, and it had an electronic control board. It's all, a display, whereas the Prime Weld was all knobs, and also AHP had an all knobbed machine as well. And my initial thought process was, with the display, this one also came with a rapid set where you just choose the tungsten size, the type of material, and the thickness of the material, and it gives you some canned settings. So that's nice if you have no idea, or you forgot, or you want to get in the ballpark. Somebody who's smart enough to put in these settings, and I've tried most of them and they work pretty good right out of the box. So if you want to just plug it in and get welding, that's really helpful. But after a couple days of playing around with the canned adjustments, I wanted to try out the advanced features, and there you have to set them yourself on just the AC menu. I'll show you the difference, how easy it is. But at that point, having a knobbed machine or the display, it doesn't really matter. I was initially thinking I should have gone with a knob machine because I didn't know that the machine would save the last setting that was in there, both on AC and DC. So I found it does have that much memory, so it's no different than leaving the knobs where they were. So that's a wash. I have read that the digital machine is more accurate, whereas the knobs maybe not as precise, which makes sense because it's just a round scaled knob for each adjustment. So I guess either way you can't go wrong. I don't know which one lasts longer. I suppose the knob could burn up or wear out, or that whole display could quit. But that's when it's kind of nice that, one, it has a 3-year warranty, and the whole machine is not that expensive. So if it was, well, that my Lincoln 275 retails like $10,000. There are inverter machines like the Fronius. They're upwards of $6,000. I would be more upset if one of those died than, you know, worst case scenario, you're out $750. That's a lot of money, but still, on the big scheme of things, it's only so much risk. So this week's projects, I was hoping to start working on the wastegate placement on the 64 Dodge Dart Turbo LS swap, and I really wanted to build the charge pipe out of aluminum 3-inch tubing from the intercooler up to the throttle body. The stainless exhaust I've fought through, and I've already welded the hot side with my old Lincoln, and the charge pipes, I've built a bunch of them in the past. I've never had good luck with aluminum, and because of that, you don't go into it with a lot of confidence. It takes the fun right out of it, but I have to do it myself. That's the way it goes. We've already covered that. So the magic happened with this welder when I turned on the pulse and started playing around with that. I watched a few videos, and they were using an Everlast machine, but the basic setup, you can go right on 100 videos or just Google the information and pretty much set your welder to the pulse settings and get them pretty close. And like I said, that's when the magic started happening. I'll show you up close. The camera never does good looking welds justice, but I started with the, well, this is how much I practiced. I don't practice much, but I cut this little piece of exhaust in half and welded it back together with just some ER70S rod. And then I started working on the recycling outlet pipe on the wastegate, and wow, it's pretty. And then, with a little bit of confidence, I started working on the charge pipes. I had 1 hour yesterday afternoon to work, and I built the charge pipe and welded up. There's 3 circles around it plus the blow-off valve, and I'll show you that too. So let's take a peek. I hope the camera does it some justice, but for me, that's pretty good. You go around with the pulse and you time your dabs with the pulse on. I did this with 1 pulse per second, so it's not hard to keep up with. And I'm just not used to getting the pretty colors, and this is some kind of cheap stainless, and this is aluminized. I didn't even clean it. I just went for it. Came out pretty nice, in my opinion. The aluminum charge pipe welded amazingly well. For me, to even see any ripples or anything and not have it all bunged up, that's a win. I learned a little bit about how to do this stuff. The blow-off valve, whatever's in this piece of aluminum, there's a lot of garbage when I went to weld it, so this didn't come out as nice, but still, I'll take it. I blow up a lot of welds I see online, and I'm not embarrassed by that. Comparing the instruction manuals, the Alpha Tig is definitely lacking. The Prime Weld manual, I've read it online. It gets rave reviews. It's full color. It actually teaches you a lot about sine waves and all kinds of good information. The Alpha Tig, whoever converted this to English, this is just not quality like the rest of the machine. Let's put it that way. The translation's a little bit rough. I haven't read it a whole lot, but for instance, description of the erection. And all the instructions basically do is tell you how to push the buttons. The only way to show you the display on the machine is to have it running, so the fan's on. That's just the way it is. But for instance, I'm in AC, and you can toggle through. That's pre-flow, post-flow, starting amps, ending amps, frequency. That's pulses per minute, per second. I hit it in 2 pulses per second on this AC. Oops, go back through. I had it on 40 base amps. Time on was 35%. 100 on the frequency. My balance, the cleaning effect is 20. I had it on 140 amps. Rapid set, you just hit it down here. Using these, using 3/30 seconds tungsten. And pedal at high frequency is what you want, and then you just choose the thickness of your metal and you see the amps change. And then from there, if you want to tweak it, they give you this speedometer here. If you want to be hotter or colder, you can be. And then you shut rapid set off, and you can just go to DC or whatever and do it yourself. Shut pulse off if you want to. It's that easy. I need to revisit my intake elbow. I welded this much of it with the Alpha Tig using a piece of 1/8 tungsten. I don't even know what it was. But the torch itself got too hot to continue in 1 inch of welding. So I now have the correct tungsten, I believe. I'm going to give it another shot. I forgot all about it until I started shooting the video because I bought, you may have noticed, there's an elbow in the car. The Holley Elbow 2 or 3 weeks ago was unavailable. One night I was shopping around, I found it in an open box, still brand new, and it's definitely a superior piece to this. This would work, and I'm not going to give up on it. I've come this far. If nothing else, it'll be a really cool paperweight, but the Holley Elbow is on the car, and I've already made the charge pipe for it, so that's that. It has features that I was not going to incorporate. I was going to weld a bung in for my charge temperature sender, intake air temp sender. The Holley already has a hole for the LS3 style map sensor, and it has 3 1/8-inch ports, 1/4 inch NPT port, plus the intake has a port. I've already got my temp sender stuck in there, so it is what it is. But I'm probably going to finish welding this with the Lincoln when I practice some more. Here's a peek at the Holley Elbow. Like I say, it's plugged for the map sensor right now, but you can put an LS3 style there. It's got ports across the back. Throttle linkage bracket. Pretty good stuff. I'll be plugging this, drilling and tapping. I think the hood's still going to close, but when it's not so cold out, I'm going to drag the hood in and give it a shot. Get rid of those ugly hood pins and stuff and make sure it clears. I'm doing my best to keep like the blow-off valve down. The wastegate will be down out of the way, so I think we're going to clear, or we'll have to put on some hood scoop of some sort. Well, my heater just kicked on, so that means the video's over. Hope you're having a fine Friday, and I'll catch you in a couple days.